Saturday, March 5th in the Roman Rite is the Saturday after Ash Wednesday. In the Byzantine Rite, it is the commemoration of the miracle of the great martyr Theodore. 50 years after St. Theodore's martyrdom, Emperor Julian the Apostate, 361 to 363, devised a plan to corrupt the Christians during the first week of Great Lent. He knew that Christians purify themselves through fasting, especially during this week, which is why it is known as Clean Week. Therefore he ordered the Polemarch, the military leader, of Constantinople to go secretly and sprinkle all the food in the marketplace with the blood of animals which had been offered in sacrifice to idols. St. Theodore appeared to Archbishop Eudoxios in a dream, telling him to assemble all the Christians on Monday morning and tell them that they must not buy any food from the marketplace. Instead, they were to boil some koliva and eat it with some honey during that week. The hierarch asked St. Theodore what he meant by koliva. He replied, "Koliva is what we call boiled wheat in Euchatia." Thus the scheme of the idol-worshipping emperor was thwarted, and the pious people were preserved undefiled during Clean Week. March 5th is also the day of the Byzantine saint, St. Conon, martyr, a poor Christian gardener of Nazareth in Galilee, who in Pamphylia, Asia Minor, or on the island of Cyprus, was martyred in the year 250 by Governor Pompilius. With nails driven through his ankles, he was forced to run before a chariot till he fell dying, to be crushed under its wheels. The epistle is Isaiah 58, verses 9 to 14. Thus says the Lord God, if you will take away the chain out of the midst of you, and cease to stretch out the finger and to speak that which profits not, when you shall pour out your soul to the hungry and shall satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall your light rise up in darkness, and your darkness shall be as noonday. And the Lord will give you rest continually, and will fill your soul with brightness and deliver your bones, and you shall be like a watered garden, and like a fountain of water whose waters shall not fail. And the places that have been desolate for ages shall be built in you, and you shall raise up the foundations of generation and generation, and you shall be called the repairer of the fences, turning the paths into rest. If you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your own will in my holy day, and call the Sabbath delightful and the holy day of the Lord glorious, and glorify him, while you do not your own ways, and your own will is not found to speak a word, then shall you be delighted in the Lord, and I will lift you up above the high places of the earth, and will feed you with the inheritance of Jacob your father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. The gradual is Psalm 26, verse 4. One thing I ask of the Lord, this I seek, to dwell in the house of the Lord, that I may gaze on the loveliness of the Lord, and be protected by his holy temple. The Gospel is Mark chapter 6, verses 47 to 56. At that time, when it was late, the ship was in the midst of the sea, and Jesus alone on the land. And seeing his disciples straining at the oars, for the wind was against them, about the fourth watch of the night he came to them, walking upon the sea, and he would have passed by them. But they, seeing him walking up upon the sea, thought it was a ghost, and cried out. For they all saw him and were troubled. Then he immediately spoke to them and said to them, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." And he got into the boat with them, and the wind fell. And they were utterly beside themselves with astonishment, for they had not understood about the loaves, because their heart was blinded. And crossing over, they came to the land at Gennesareth, and moored the boat. And when they had gotten out of the boat, the people at once recognized him, and they hurried through that whole country, and began to bring the sick on their pallets wherever they heard he was. And wherever he went, into village or hamlet or town, they laid the sick in the marketplaces, and he entreated him to let them touch but the tassel of his cloak, and as many as touched him were saved. Praise to you, O Christ.